Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha Kodash, and double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, as well men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom may you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, beginning with the 144,000 prophets, and Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, willing, this lesson is edifying and informative. My name is Quanawath, and in the news from Yahoo Tech, Men's Journal, Elon Musk makes big announcement about new technology, published by Mike Moriatis on Saturday, June 21st, 2025. The neurotechnology company co-founded by Elon Musk, Neuralink, is set for what could be world-changing human trials soon. Now, for context and our understanding, the word neurotechnology encompasses technologies that interface, which the word interface means a point where two systems, subjects, organizations, etc. meet and interact. Device or program enabling a user to communicate with a computer. In other words, a bridge with the nervous system to monitor or modulate neural activities. It involves using neural interfaces to read or write information into the central peripheral, if I pronounce that correctly, or autonomic nervous systems, with applications ranging from therapeutic interventions to research tools. And so, in summary, neurotechnologies encompasses technologies that act as a bridge or an interface with the nervous system to monitor or modulate neural activities or neural components, including the brain and various other nervous parts of our bodies. And Neuralink Corp is an American transhumanist, and the word transhumanist means the belief or theory that the human race can evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitations, especially by means of science and technology. In other words, the natural evolution of man by means of science and technology. This is a very proud sentiment that these devils hold. A neurotechnology company that has developed, as of 2024, implantable brain computer interfaces, also known as brain implants. It was founded by Elon Musk and a team of 8 scientists and engineers. Neuralink was launched in 2016 and first publicly reported in March 2017. And this company is well known for doing human trials with their BCI, with their brain chip implant, for people suffering from various disabilities. And in this article, Musk recently revealed that Neuralink will begin human trials for the company's first implants for vision. So this particular implant will be for vision. So now they're going to push the so-called convenience, the benefit of taking the brain chip implant. Okay, which ties in with the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, which it is also known as the NFC chip implant in Europe. It is also known as the biochip implant. The word bio means living or alive. And it is also known as the brain chip implant. Hence the reason why it is directly related to the MOTB, according to biblical prophecy. And the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, will push this technology in the form of convenience to coax the mind of the people when they mandate it across the globe after introducing it. And many will willingly go out there and take it. Especially when, the squeeze gets tighter. Then you can't buy or sell in society unless you have the mark, according to biblical prophecy. In the next 6 to 12 months, we'll be doing our first implants for vision, where even if somebody is completely blind, we can write directly to the visual cortex, Musk said to Y Combinator on Thursday. So this man is basically trying to be like the Most High, performing all kind of miracles on the left-hand side through his technology, which the Most High gave to him, because it's a part of his blessing. Neuralink has already tested the implant on a monkey. Now, Musk says that the animal has had it for 3 years. He adds that the vision offered from the implant would be in low resolution at first, but will improve over time. Long term, it'll be very high resolution, and you'll be able to see multiple spectral wavelengths, Musk revealed. Musk said back in April that the vision of the people who use the implant will exceed the best human eye. So this is one of the so-called benefits that they'll push when they introduce and subsequently mandate this technology across the globe. Okay? Because they are transhumanists. And they're proud. They believe that their technology, their sword, their blessing will allow them to transcend and be on the level of the Most High, which that's not the case. Okay? This is the blind sight implant will enable its users to see ultraviolet rays, infrared, and radar like a superpower situation, the Tesla CEO added. Neuralink's brain computer interface, BCI, has already seen some success. The BCI was inserted into the brain of Nolan Arba, a paralyzed man who is now able to control computers with his thoughts. And that's another example of a so-called miracle on the left hand that they'll use to persuade the minds of the people into willingly taking that chip after they mandate it. If you were born paralyzed or you got into an accident at some point in your life and you became paralyzed, if you take this chip in your right hand or in your forehead through this BCI, you'll be able to, move again using your thoughts, Or you'll be able to see again. That's another excuse that they'll use. It says, the BCI was inserted into the brain of Nolan Arba, a paralyzed man who is now able to control computers with his thoughts, thanks to the technology. And technology can be seen here on the Mark of the Beast camp sign. As you can see, the RFID microchip, also known as the brain chip implant. And the punishment for taking this device in one's right hand or in their forehead is death by pain through being burnt in the lake of fire, and the second death by way of thermonuclear destruction, according to biblical prophecy. This device is where people's information, including their ID, their financial information, their social security, their M to the E to the D to the I to the C, the rest information. I have to say it like that so that they won't flag this lesson for being, MED, misinformation. Right? So, as you can see here, this is the mark of the beast. All right? And it will be pushed in the form of convenience. If you take this device in your right hand or in your forehead, you'll be able to move your disabled limbs or legs or whatever have the person through thought because of this neurotechnology. All right, so now let's get the scriptures and then Lord's willing conclude the lesson. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16. And he causeth all, the he that it is referring to is the elites of the wicked. Who is the wicked? Malachi chapter 1, verse 4 tells us that the wicked is Esau, Edom, whose hand the earth has been given into for a season, pursuant to the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24, and the book of Job, the 20th chapter. All right, that is the he, the elites of Esau, Edom, the wicked, causeth all people on earth except for the elect of the nation of Israel, whom our Lord Yahweh Shai promised that he will keep from the hour of temptation, which is the hour of trial, through the idea of piercing. That is the trial of a man's fidelity, a man's faith. Okay? And these devils, when the he, right, causeth all, both small and great, from a newborn baby to an elderly senior in society, rich and poor, whether they be rich or poor in society, free and bond, whether they be free or in bondage, in the jail systems, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And the word mark in the Greek is charagma, which means a stamp or imprinted mark. That stamp or imprinted mark is the RFID microchip, also known as the NFC chip implant in Europe, also known as the biochip implant, and also known as the brain chip implant, i.e., Elon Musk's Neuralink. Okay? And the root word of charagma is charax, which means a palisade or stake, which will be the syringing mechanism that they will use to puncture the flesh of individuals to then insert that charagma, that stamp, that imprinted mark, which is the RFID microchip, also known as the brain chip implant, right? And the root word of charax is grapho, which means of the writings, filled with the writings, filled with the records, because within the chip is where people's information, including their ID, as we can see here in the image, their passport information, will all be filled, will all be written, right? Including their financial information and their med information. I have to say it like that, so that they will not flag this lesson, Lord is willing. So all roads are leading to the global introduction and subsequent mandation of the MOTB, right? And after that happens, the Thar Wars will peak, and our Lord Yahweh Shah will make his second return, because the Thar Wars has been an ongoing process. But we understand that the Thar Wars will not fully begin until and after the mark of the beast has been mandated across the globe according to biblical prophecy, which we are very close to that. We know because the Lord has been hastening the day for the elect's sake. Look at all the things that have been going on across the globe. We have been hearing of a lot more wars and rumors of wars, especially concerning Israel, Iran, and the United States. In fact, just look what the U.S. recently did on the behalf of Israel. They just dropped a few bombs in Iranian nuclear sites. Okay? And eventually, Russia is going to become a guard unto Iran pursuant to the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, as the U.S. has been dragged out by the least of the flock, which is the state of Israel, to become a guard unto the state of Israel, pursuant to the book of Jeremiah, the 49th chapter, and also the 50th chapter. Okay, where it references the least of the flock shall draw them out. So, reading on, it says, in their right hand or in their foreheads, in front of their brain, or even on top of their brain, that no man might buy or sell. So no man will be able to buy or sell in society, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. The beast is the pagan Roman Empire, which came back in the form of NATO and the EU, with America being an extension of that empire. That is the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, just as we can see here in the image of the mark of the beast cam sign, where you have a UPC, which stands for a universal product code, where you have 6 on the very far right horizontal line, another 6 in the very middle, and another 6 in the far left. And a UPC is used to track goods, services across the globe, even in our supermarkets, grocery stores. But soon, as the Lord has been putting it into the minds of these devils to increase in knowledge of technology, everything will be done, everything will be transitioned over to a blockchain, a network that will allow these devils to have people paid digitally, carry out transactions digitally. In fact, what's a blockchain?
Blockchain is a decentralized, distributed digital ledger that records transactions across many computers. It's essentially a shared, immutable record of information that is resistant to tampering and modification. This means that once a transaction is recorded on a blockchain, it cannot be altered or deleted, similar to a digital ledger, like a bank statement. Everything will be recorded, cannot be altered. But the particular blockchain that these devils will be using will be a centralized blockchain, just like what a CBDC runs on. It's centralized. It's overseen by a central authority. Okay? Making it a very secure and transparent way to track information. And this is another excuse that they'll use to coax the mind of the people. Oh, if you desire transparency, you'll have it, but only if you take this chip in your right hand or in your forehead. Okay? And it says, finishing off, and his number is 603 score and 6, which, ties to the chip. And the judgment for that, in concluding this lesson, is Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice. And when you read Revelation, the 16th chapter, it references a sword. Those that take that chip, they'll have a grievous sword. All right? Saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, the image of the beast is the system of the beast, which includes his various infrastructures, including his financial infrastructure, his architectural infrastructure, his D, and the rest infrastructure. Okay? His philosophies. All these things comprise the image of the beast, which is the system of the beast. Okay? His technological infrastructure that are surrounded by technocrats, transhumanists, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire by a thermonuclear fire, and the lake of fire, second death, and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, who is the Lamb, or Lord Yahushai. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, meaning for a period of time. It doesn't literally mean forever and ever and ever. It means for a period of time. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever received the mark of his name. So, with that, do not take the RFID microchip, also known as the NFC chip implant, also known as the biochip implant, also known as the brain chip implant. To you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners, do not take it when they mandate it across the globe, because if you do, this is the judgment that you will receive, which 2/3 of you won't even listen and will take it anyway. But as for the elect will do what? They're going to keep the commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai and the faith of Yahushai. Okay? And as a result, will be kept from the hour of temptation, according to the promises of the Lord. So with that, I conclude this lesson. Lord is willing, it has been edifying and informative. This has been another In the News report. And I'll catch you brothers and few sisters in the next lesson. Lord is willing. Shalom.